Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. As always, thank you for joining us for another terrific edition of this week's EQ Video Tip. Before we jump into this week's tip, let's review the goals of EQ Video Tip. What's on tap for this week? Well, it's a great show from Marcel Schwantes, who talks about brilliant strategies used by emotionally intelligent people to avoid allowing their emotions to get the best of them, or what to do when you get triggered. And we've all been there before. We're in a discussion and someone says something really stupid or something to upset you, and you're ready to just go off on them. And instead of letting that amygdala allowing you to react, you want to actually respond and take a moment, maybe pause. Here are some great tips that Marcel recommends to avoid being emotionally triggered. Tip number 1, self-awareness and perhaps a 6-second pause. We've all been there before. Someone says something to ignite us, to get us all fired up. And it's important to be self-aware, to not pass judgment, to process what's going on and to hold back. One of the best ways you can do this is take a 6-second pause. Just think about what the person is saying to you before you actually do anything. Don't cause more drama than you actually really want. Try to think rationally. So when someone's giving you that trigger, take a moment, be self-aware, use that 6-second pause so to take that moment to think about rationally what choices you want to do and make a more careful choice, and hopefully not allow your emotions to be triggered. Tip number 2, show empathy. It's okay to say, I feel that you are doing this, or I understand how you're doing. Take a moment to try to tap into the other person's feelings. Even if you disagree with what they're saying, get the whole picture. Ask them to tell you more. Then when they do, reflect back what you're hearing and say, I think you feel this way. Is that correct? And then ask something like, how can I help? But take a moment to get their feelings and be empathetic. It will help diffuse the situation and give you a moment to reflect on what they're feeling and where it's coming from as well. Tip number 3, check in with the other person. It's okay in the middle of conflict with someone to say, are you okay? It's the most powerful way to manage that conflict, to actually ask the person, are you all right? Maybe they're upset about something else. Maybe they heard something from a coworker, a customer, a friend, a family member, and that's really what is causing all this friction that's out there. What comes next may actually surprise you. You'll be able to open up the door to that person to understand what the real issue is behind it. Are they really having an issue with you or something else? Or maybe there's a mound of issues that are out there. But give them a moment to actually reflect on what they just said, and do they really mean it for you or for something else? And how can we make this better and improve upon it, as opposed to being triggered? Our last tip, speak from the heart, and if possible or necessary, apologize. What do we mean by that? Being your authentic self and saying what you mean and what you're intentional about, and saying that is really important. For example, I made a mistake, or here's my responsibility, or I'd like to apologize because I goofed up on this piece. You don't have to say I always make a mistake, or give yourself something where it's a permanent thing, but you could say, hey, this is my responsibility here, and I want to let you know about what I did wrong and where I can improve. Hopefully that person on the other side will do the same for you as well. But it's important to speak from the heart, be honest and authentic, so they understand what's going on. If someone hurts your feelings, it's okay to say, hey, what you just said hurt my feelings, or is making me feel uncomfortable, whatever it might be. And if you offended someone, of course, apologize as well. That's a wrap for this week's EQ Video Tips. Hopefully these tips from Marcel help you in becoming less emotionally triggered and help you manage these types of situations going forward. Again, take these tips, make them yours, use them in your day-to-day life, and hopefully they will help you take control of your emotions. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today.
As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.